really dreadful for almost anybody else playing in the field, but they've done it once. Can they do it again? Starting off on the defensive side, DRX, given all the conversations around compositions, rosters, they finally have settled in, and it seems to be working quite nicely.
And right away on this pistol round, you can see DRX very, very slow, controlled, trying to understand which style of Billy they're going to get, because these two teams are familiar with each other. They scrim a lot over in Pacific. And Billy can be a team that instantly can frustrate you with the pace that they throw at you, with the weapons they use, they choose.
It's just so difficult to prep against. We saw how it cost fits against NRG in the past. Can DRX handle it just a bit better? Slow start to the round. They're all leaning towards A. The turret, making sure there's no flame.
And despite DRX, or Billy getting forced back into this A site right now, DRX has done it with no util at all. Only the cycling of that Viper wall, and that denies so much info for Billy. They just walked past the one-way at the perfect time, took all that space, and it's caused 4 people to be over here. Rin, first target, and he knows now that it's going to be towards this C site. He saw the fade.
He's seeing all the rotations coming through for the defensive side. It's really just K-Knight who's waiting. As you see the dump of utility, the nanos, the nade on the other side, they're going to get vulnerable if they try to push through that smoke. They're going to walk right into Rin's crosshair. 28 HP still alive though. The spike hasn't made its way out. There are only 10 seconds left. The turret's going to provide a little bit of cover, but it's dropped. I don't know that they're going to make it out. It's going to be a flood out onto the site. And there are a couple of members already close by. YZ takes care of Buzz. I don't know that the spike is going to go down in time. Just barely does. But all of DRX drop.
And despite the early success, I would say, from DRX there, succumbing to indecision in the final moments of the pistol round. We saw how effective and important these rounds were yesterday. And now again, Billy. I mean, great job from them. By the way, that KJ, Molly, and the Viper Orb, full fuel for them to be able to keep that up. Completely denies DRX from actually entering in. Big mistake there from DRX.
Just one round in, we're already seeing Stacks put his face in his hands, but you know, the Desk was talking about how emotional a team it can be and how that often is one of the keys to their success. So we'll see how things continue to play out. DRX not opting to buy very much into this. You got a Sheriff in the hands of RB, a Ghost for Stacks, and Mako, and then just Classics the rest of the way.
I like that from Zest, though, looking early to break the haunt. That gets thrown out from Bianc. Doesn't actually come in that direction, and now he just has to play for the space spot. He can get punished here if they just follow up. There's only one player nearby.
RB's coming by to help.
It's a good cross. You can't really push much more into that if you're Billy without extra support or util. Not knowing what could peek you from the C side either. There's a triple possible.
Here.
So many things to consider, but DRX taking the space that's been given to them, starting lean towards C, and look at Rin just on the other side of the smoke.
There, actually, the smoke that K-Knight is throwing down is a lot of a gap into that site. That's why DRX uses it to look to break mollies. But Rin is playing an off angle into his molly for it. So anybody who comes through is just going to get barrel stuff. That's really nicely done. Good details there from Billy.
It's so difficult. It's clean, and it's an ace from Rin. BLG already riding the high. And you see just how oppressive that Killjoy and Viper combo can be on C when you're trying to play through that. You've got you've got nanos at your feet. You've got Viper spits too. You've got to try to funnel out with. It's so difficult.
Yeah, it's a very basic, simple details here that lead to this. Then masterful shots from Rin, and for me, Billy in their entire roster, Rin against NRG was the guy who was keeping that game even close in terms of mistakes that he was making, but they're just the fundamentals coming through on that KJ. Phenomenal stuff from him.
Really nice opportunity here for BLG if they're able to convert this round to set up very nice financially. Once again, this triple push towards A main. A lot of presence here. Oh, this time there's a paranoia wrinkled in. They're gonna push him right off that angle.
A lot of times this could force these attackers to go really fast into the C side or the B side, react into it.
Sure.
But Billy is trying to bait that sort of reaction out, and DRX is having none of it. Still wanting to go slow. Nanoswarm pop to try to break the alarm bot, but YZ is here. to defend.
I mean, he's more than here. He's starting to push up a little bit forward, too.
Oh.
RB, are you aware that turret's going to help?
They've already broken all the KJ setup right now. Sure, the turret's on a cooldown, can come back at the end of the round, but alarm bot from RB pressured, and that's making Stacks have to spend prowlers on the other side of the map when they need him for this execute.
Once again, heading back towards C, they've only cleared one of the nanos, and there it is again. It's so difficult to get through this. Buzz is melted! No entry into the site! And then you've got the molly out from Yosemite. This is just so clean from Billy. DRX not finding any room to breathe, any space to work. And it's another disaster. The bonus in full effect for BLG.
They're getting choked out here on this C side, and that's 3 attempts now at it. You've got to start recognizing you need more pressure on that side early in order to get some of that fuel down, in order to get that molly down. Funny enough, the goals that DRX is having right now to break some of that util from the KJ on B side, actually Billy on the defense is having more success with. It's really nice game plan out of these two teams.
I mean, it certainly helps when you only have one member on your team that's died. Rin is 9-0 right now. A clean bill of health for almost everyone else.
Fast push now for DRX on this eco. Remember, they lost that bonus, so huge cascade of rounds possible here from Billy. But taking this A control is normally a goal for a lot of teams very early, but I think that fear that it felt like they were playing with in the first 2 rounds, at least what they decided on for their own game plan, is limiting them in this access.
Oh, he's just so aggressive. There's not a lot of, oh, there was a little bit of help. I didn't see K-Knight there, but the Sheriffs from DRX keeping him down for now.
Now that's important here for Bianca to actually try to defend these weapons, and with that Viper wall up, he can do nothing for it. Just gonna try to use the timing right there to see if he can catch somebody going for it late.
He's got a haunt. I mean, still full utility.
There's a push coming from the door too, Yosemite.
They've got a
They're
nice,
gonna double peek.
Yep, they've got a nice pinch here. Only one weapon has been upgraded so far, and that instantly finds value, but the timing from Bianca's gorgeous! All 3 fall as BLG get another!
And it's the first real success from DRX, instantly snuffed out.
Whoa.
And a timeout because of it too. Yeah, you gotta get on the same page here.
That's huge.
Because think about this on the other side. Billy is completely on the same page. You see Bianca getting these kills, but at the same time too, you had Yosemite coming in through the breakable door, and Rin was involved as well. All 3 players alive, getting involved in that final fight. Beautiful stuff. Just consistently have to commend these guys over and over for the level of Valorant that they are showing. Despite sometimes, and I know a lot of people trying to criticize them in that NRG game for looking a little chaotic, looking like they're relying on the whimsy and not their fundamentals, but in my mind, this team has shown so many different levels of their ability.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of depth to how they play, but then also, I mean, I think it's a fair question that has to be asked at this point. While I know it's early, if the whimsy works, and if the whimsy consistently works, and you have depth to other things in your game plan that allow you to play with a little bit of whimsy and know you can still throw curveballs at what's on the other side of the stage, I mean, why not?
Yeah, 100%. And right now, it's just full depth, and that's causing DRX. I mean, they need to think about how to approach this a little bit better. That C site needs to be pressured a lot more. They need to get that util out from Rin. They need to potentially even rotate him off of that site. And then they need to be decisive when they're hitting. Try to get in those timings when that fuel is low from Yosemite.
A 10-0 start for Rin. A Killjoy's dream, to be honest.
Just so good. And now they have to deal with YZ's op coming online. Aggressive already against Buzz here.
He's so far ahead.
Should have heard the TP.
He's so far ahead. The Prowler in his face. He's got to try to get away. Manages to survive without taking any damages. You see a second one come through as he tucks behind, tries to land the shot, but Buzz from up top with the nade is just too much.
And important here, Rin does not have a second molly. Must have used it to try to get YZ in position.
Hey, he does have a lockdown though. And honestly, with the way he's been playing, he might be all right anyway. DRX still feeling some of the pressure. They've got what they wanted. They took down the op. They took down YZ. They want to flip the map.
And they do have Buzz as showstopper now. His rocket could help take a lot of space here, but with Yosemite and Bianca, needs to be well considered.
They've got to be careful, though. I think if they push Yosemite here, there's not much room for him to help. He's got to play his life very dangerously, or he just pushes forward, gets haunted, and gets a kill onto Stacks.
C's comes in to delay as well, so DRX still not making their way into main. They're going into Rin.
Oh, right back into Rin, you're right. Rin finally dying at the hands of Buzz. The B side open, the spike planted, and DRX in control for what feels like the first time, really, all map. K-Knight pushing forward, Buzz with 3 on the round, looking for the 4th. Yosemite on the counter, though, as they're going to claw their way back into this thing. Mako's left alone in a 1v2. Has to make something happen in a situation like this. It's been dire, it's been ugly, and it's not getting any better. Yosemite gets a 3rd as BLG gets a 5.
Where is DRX right now? That was a 1 round. When they started hitting that B side, it felt like a 1 round. And then all of a sudden it turns so fast. They got their first kill on YZ. They got success in terms of map control. Just the final hurdle, they don't use that ult. They don't use the tools that they had in that to be able to push through. And they're again, Billy is causing fits with all the util. Everything is precise, perfect.
I got their omen.
That C's delayed for so long, for Yosemite to stay alive for so long, and that actually caused them to pivot into the B site where, again, you have players ready for it.
Precise, perfect, and honestly problematic for DRX. And all the questions about, well, maybe it was just, whimsy, as you were saying against NRG. Can they do it here? You're right, Ball. They're showing a different flavor of Valorant towards DRX, and they don't like how it tastes.
No, in the first series against NRG, it was Judge. That was the story. It was like, oh my God, why is he just crazy with the Judge, tilting the other team? In their second series, not at all. There's very little elements of that in terms of the clutches. Sure, it was tilting, but that was it. Here comes Buzz.
Takes a different path, but YZ gets to kill himself. What the heck happened there? YZ already with 2. The spike out of reach. The round is done. I don't know how they get into this.
It's a nookie dodge up high. Buzz was so high, too. Couldn't get a hold on that rocket.
YZ's gotten 3 on the round. Perhaps another ace on the cards. YZ with 4. The ace on the other side, and it delivers once more.
2 rounds out of 6. We've had aces by Billy, and 0 rounds for DRX thus far. If you wanted a bloodbath, you got it. This Lotus is looking phenomenal from Billy right now. Looking like nothing can stop them. Looking like multiple players can step up at any point.
What do DRX do from here? The buy is less than ideal. A Guardian and a Bulldog for Zest. And then just pistols. They have failed to find success with some of their ultimates. I think again about Buzz's previous round and how YZ got the best of him, but this time not the case.
They've gotten first kills on these eco rounds before, but nothing to be able to capitalize on anything here. YZ again falling, but this time the gun way deep. Very safe. They're not going to be able to recover it. They're going to have to use what they have. And that's a lot of space, a lot of control. They're still behind the Viper wall, sure, but lockdown. There's tools here still. And RB potentially could get a really late lurk if they do opt to go into this A side.
I think the question too is how patient is Ren. As Bianca falls on the opposite side of the map, you feel the rotations having to come through. Knight's in a really good spot, and of course, K-Knight gets 2. Repositioning on the 3rd. Not able to land, but Yosemite does.
30 seconds
They've
left.
somehow gotten this back to a 2v2. I don't understand. I don't understand how they're going to do it again.
Down A.
It just makes no sense.
And once again, DRX scratching their heads. 2 early kills. This is a knife the wall.
left.
He only has a sheriff. He has to die here. He already has his lockdown. So honestly, the Billy players might keep him alive.
That's just more fun. It's just more fun. Yosemite with 3, DRX still fat goose egg on the scoreboard.
This is crazy. And we are entering this series in another situation where people are still doubting Billy. Yes, they've only played against one team in NRG and got success against them. But here they are against the doubters, 7-0 up right now. Unfathomable.
And a furrowed brow for the IGL of DRX is he's the one who has to figure out what the heck do they do in the face of this. They have 4 ultimates to work with this time. Maybe that's the key.
It's a tough decision too. Like at this point, you probably want to start thinking about a second timeout before this gets completely out of hand.
Is it not already? Because, I mean, if you invest that here, you're dry the rest of the map. Termi has already called one.
Face your fear.
Nightfall through, Buzz satcheling forward. They've created some space. What do they do with it? You see K-Knight is already ulted to join the defenses of Billy. They're already all here.
This might be the first plant of the game for DRX right now.
Yeah, you may be right. Or maybe the pistol where
the pistol where they barely got it. Felt like the round was already over. This time, plenty of tools. The lockdown, they've got the pit too if they need to. Won't invest it here.
Note here, Bianca 1 point away from having the Nightfall. But Mako, from a distance, keeping them back. At least attempting to. YZ detained. He's got to take a step back. You see the pit now in play. K-Knight pushing forward, trying to find anything that he can claim. Really, nothing's going to be found, but they bought enough time for him to get back online. Bianca's going to be on the tap. Stacks dropping him first. And nothing going to happen. I thought for a moment maybe they get to half and something happens, but DRX finally cauterize the bleeding and get on the board.
All it took there was a fast round, and Rin gives up that C site.
Well, it took a fast round. It took, what, 3 ultimates?
Yes.
4 ultimates, something like that?
Absolutely.
And
but in terms of the early success, being able to get on site, which is where they've struggled so much.
Yeah, I think the other thing we have to consider here is it was a different defensive setup from Rin. He didn't have his typical Molly setup and Nano setup that we'd seen in the previous rounds.
Yeah.
So Buzz was able to satchel out and create some space.
I think a big wow, a timeout from Billy. Up 7-1. But I think the reason for that is because he's had such success. You can start to cheat. You can start to do things that get you extra value elsewhere.
Yeah.
And for Rin, he might have been thinking the B side. I'm not exactly sure where his setup was, but either way, DRX is able to capitalize, and now they start to have to deal with the same things that they were all series long so far. 7-1 again. Mind blown. This is a team that is stepping onto the global stage for the first time, stepping into the global playoff stage for the first time. And they're doing this. It's about time we stop doubting.
Perhaps that one round and the cheers from the crowd is enough for DRX to make a run at this. It's been an abysmal start for them so far on Lotus. But somehow, through the disaster, there's an opportunity to stabilize and convert. Or not. Rin is just on a heater, man.
He's been so good. They're going to try to go fast in it again. Nade lands on him, but this time he gets the early kill, so if he falls off, oh!
Another Molly kill.
Yeah, both traded there.
They finally both fall, and this time the rotations are a little late, but it's not because they weren't proactive. It's because they're flanking through spawn.
I don't think that turret was up right now, so this double flank could be huge.
The Nightfall, funneling them right into BLG's lap once more. YZ with the showstopper connects onto Buzz. The 3K and the 8th for Billy.
It's perfect right away. Out of Billy. They follow up on what was successful for DRX, and they figure out, let's just push this A site instantly. And when you start to get those kills coming in from Rin, when you start to get that Molly traded, yes, it's a 3v3 once you get the site, but that forces RB to come on over and give up the turret. Nightfall pushes them into the flank. It's just beautiful. Once again, such a strong response. Out of that timeout and effective right away, too. They might not need a second one. I love the fact that they called it here in this first half to just try to really push that knife in.
And the potential here for the twist of that to be their demise. A judge for Buzz this time around, and a heavy lean towards C once more.
And don't forget, because they won a round, they reset the loss bonus, so this becomes a very impactful round for DRX. They kind of have to win.
He's already gone his way out. The judge is not finding any value. Yosemite's staying alive long enough to drop that molly and getting a kill on Mako. I mean, that was a little aggressive by Rin there. But a 3v3 for the rest of the round. Two members still rotating over. Bianca in a bit of pressure.
Spike planted.
Double flank again through the door this time, and it comes really fast.
That
I don't think
nade is
RB
deep.
expected it.
No, he's so dead. But Zest on the counter, a 2v2. BLG trying to retake the site.
Oh, the satchel.
He's gotten his way through, and YZ with 3!
What is going on? Why is he just satcheled his own teammate there, gets up top, and gets the kills? It's like he baited his own teammate forward. And they're just destroying. He's asking what the heck is going on himself. This guy is destroying. He had already the highest ACS in the entire tournament. Second highest ADR, first among the players who are still playing. And here again, 15 and 3, it's gotta be up there for another just disgusting game.
And you effectively create a high-low, and even then, you see it. YZ was essentially isolated in that 1v2. Question marks. Question marks all over the place. There's always a Cinderella Balla. It always seems like there's a Cinderella, and this one seems to be fit to the size of BLG. That Slipper fitting quite nicely as they're up 8 rounds against DRX. A team that looked revitalized, a team that looked reinvigorated.
And they're getting so much value out of any of these A pushes. At this point, DRX has to start getting ready for dealing with the follow-up flanks that come despite getting some success on pushing into that C site. Finally, we're having some satchels early to try to break it. There, it broke both. Letting it stay alive for max damage. On the radius, and YZ, we've seen this before. The turret did spoil the fun for him on this flank. The turret's down.
No way,
I mean,
no way.
What timing? Why is it that RB is the guy going so far here to break this door, knowing that he needs to keep that util up? It's like he's trying to make a play while the rest of them are following up behind his play, his idea. Door broken.
YZ, who's already found value on one, looking for the second, is Bianca, and the rest of BLG try to hold A. And my goodness, once more, nothing for RB to do. When you run a 1v5 at the end of the round like that, I mean, what options do you have?
And you saw the traded flashes there. Both Omens using their paranoia, and I really think that it's fitting because Billy is abusing
30 seconds left.
DRX's paranoia here in terms of what could happen, in terms of the fact that this is such a devastating scoreline. DRX on the precipice of a massive first map loss here. We're about to enter halftime, but we're also already, maybe it's starting to declare this game is over right now.
I mean, we're close with it. We're flirting with it for sure.
11-1 would just be disgusting. Would be our biggest half of this tournament.
Just one round. Really the only thing keeping Billy from a perfect half against DRX, no less. Again, I can't stress the importance of that. DRX looks so good. They went through the gauntlet that was Group D. And people thought, well, Billy, yeah, maybe they got the best of NRG, but surely they can't do it again, right?
Oh my goodness, they used the showstopper to clear mound and not to actually execute on the site. Oh, and it gets a kill anyways. That's not supposed to happen.
No.
Why is he again? He's gonna respond. Whoa.
Oh, that was a little aggressive. That was a little bold. Somehow stays alive. You see 2 haymakers shot out. BLG, the attempt to knockout punch, and for DRX, the attempt to just get back into this thing to give themselves a fighting chance. DRX, a 5v2 to to close out the half.
30 seconds left.
Surely it doesn't happen like this, right? Surely it doesn't happen like this. Bianca's already gotten 2. YZ in a 1v3. Make that a 1v2. The timing is not great as DRX finally get a second.
A ridiculous half nonetheless, though, from Billy. That is dominant, 10-2. How can you even think of responding here from DRX? How do you get your mind right? Going into not only the next map, but the next half. This is just a stomp.
I mean, the next half, when you consider the attacking side of Lotus, should be a little bit more favored here. But we'll see. We'll see if that's the case. We'll see if they can pull it back together. A 10-2 lead in favor of Billy. Golden Boy on the desk to break down that first half.
Thank you so much, fellas, and I think we'll just go straight into our Verizon high-speed moment. It's, of course, YZ's ace in round number 6. What a play. And also, just in general, Mimi, this BLG team, they're here to cook. They are frying.
BLG, I think their reactions across this entire map were so good. On all of these retakes, YZ was going absolutely insane. I mean, the reaction time to satchel above the opponent's ultimate, pull out his own ult, to counter it, then throw the nade on the fly and find the perfect gap to take a kill. The team is playing well. They're setting YZ up excellently, and his mechanics are just ridiculous right now, Seth.
Yeah, he's just putting on an absolute clinic here when it comes down to this race, especially his movement has just been absolutely gorgeous. His rifling completely on point, and he has just been blowing them out of the water.
Yeah, it's scary. Like, this isn't even... Like, this is not what I had expected coming into today.
I mean, DRX, they just look so different than what we expected in group stage. I mean, to be fair, they're playing against an almost 400 ACS Raze player.
He
was
nuts.
already statistically the best player in the event, and he's putting up halves like this.
And it's the defending side.
Which
2 rounds on the attack for DRX. That's an all-time low for them, I believe. Maybe when they played against Paper X in the Pacific Final, maybe it was worse, but this is not a good look at all.
For context, you're normally looking for like 4 or 5 rounds. This is a solid Lotus defense. It's insane. And DRX honestly look boomed right now. Slowing down so many of these rounds, running out of time, fumbling the mid rounds. It is so unlike the DRX of group stage. It feels like BLG is stepping up at the perfect time.
I mean, the 2 times that we saw DRX play this map at this tournament was a 6-6 and a 7-5 start on the attacking side. 2 rounds, not gonna cut it. This looks like it's over.
Yeah, this is a rough one. DRX are gonna need to climb a mountain. Let's see if they can do it or if it's over right here.
That mountain looks massive, Golden Boy. I'm not going to lie to you. BLG with an 8-round lead. Complete slaughter. They're having fun with it, too.
Hopefully they can continue to get smiles on their face, because Billy now on this attack side to close out, and they already got just an Omen TP across. That was silent. I don't think they heard it. They heard it.
They have no idea. Dude, K-Knight only finding 1, but the damage is done.
And that's the problem with trying to slow walk, take that control as a defense. You don't end up hearing the TP. Either way, traded back, and they've actually got a really nice pinch here. That alarm bot still will be up from RB while they go for this push into it.
They've effectively funneled them into B. The thing is, there's really no contain
well, yeah, and
on the spawn side of
the
things.
A players are not reacting to this. They should either try to take control of A main or rotate back to start a pinch going, and the timing could not be worse.
I mean, Yosemite's going to pinch him behind him. They're going to try to funnel their way out through panel.
Big nade.
There's a lot of trouble here for DRX, as once again, they have no idea of what's waiting on the other side.
And the fact that it's been quiet their entire time signals to everybody else exactly what's going on. Nobody coming through heaven, nobody else through A main. Oh, maybe not. Mistake there from YZ.
Yeah, numbers still in favor of the attack side, though. Now we've equalized. Rain is weak, 37 HP. The spam out from Akko into the smoke. They're going to have to pop their way out because RB's already gotten it 3/4 of the way. He gets it to half, finishes the job, and gets DRX the pistol.
Billy, for the first time in my mind, showing the first sign of inexperience there. Not really putting the clues together. Even though that flank was just perfect by Yosemite. Perfect by K-Knight in the first place to get that first opener. And then the situation that DRX went for was, again, ideal in terms of handling that post plant, but just really thinking somebody was coming through waterfall. Now Billy down to pistols.
5 Bulldogs on the defensive side. Surely you favor DRX in this round. as Billy have gone exploring a little bit of 1-3-1, and they fully make their way out. I mean, the spike is in the hands of YZ, and he satchels forward. He gets the spike down, and he somehow gets away.
Wow. And already success. He's gotten 2 orbs in this round. Rin got the other one.
Hey,
and the plant.
You've got to be careful here. That nade is going to cause some problems, but oh, Buzz is just going to sink it. Never mind. He just holds it the whole way. I thought the nade was on.
And don't, in this situation, the attackers don't need to go down. So economically, they're still going to be okay. Despite my heart beating for a second there while I saw all of them stay alive. It's okay. And again, I think that's a success for Billy, not only denying the kills from DRX there, but getting 2 orbs for YZ, the plant and the B orb, and then as well, getting that C orb for Rin. They're thriving in this case, and this is it. Big opportunity for them to close out this game. They win this anti-bonus. DRX, while they won't be out, you start to get those power ults. That becomes the win condition.
DRX just dumped so much utility towards A main there to effectively draw a line in the sand and not let him through. And I like that they're keeping some of this space as well.
That spray, the jump spot, Mako confirms there's nothing actually through, which means Billy needs to go for a second approach here. Plan B, rotate back towards C.
Second to clear some of the util, yeah. It at least drops the alarm bot. The nano mid is still there.
And that makes it hard. You can't play passive on B anymore. They're still looking for this, spamming down.
I mean, they just invested a prowler towards mid because of that.
And that's 50 seconds. They've gotten almost all the really impactful util down from the KJ. With this smoke, they can continue to look for picks inside the C site. They don't have to commit through this.
He's far up here.
Here's the freeze.
Zez creeping forward. K-Knight there as well. You see it just a little bit of geometry keeping the 2 players apart.
30 seconds left.
The timing on this is everything that sees to swing out, but Zez somehow getting 2. Seems like it might be bonus back, but YZ with the counter punch. Yosemite with another in control for BLG.
YZ got his nade back too, so allows for this plant to go in, but it's a safe plant. They cannot commit to playing post plant from Mound.
They may not want to. Buzz and Mako, what do you do? A divided attempt at taking the site back as they approach it from 2 fronts. Rin tucked in the corner. Do you check it? Yes, you do. Even crouch, nothing converted. Yosemite's gonna have to do it by himself. Let's get down to a 1v1. Time on Yosemite's side is Mako playing swing around the Rosie, trying to find the timing. No idea of what's on the other side, and Mako reads it well.
Huge bonus for DRX, and all of a sudden, we're within 5. And there's a big chance here for them to start snowballing themselves, start to have a half similar to Billy. And you don't get into that period where it starts to become thinking about these win conditions for Billy being easy to get, easy to achieve. No. Keeping them from 11 is super important, while this lead is still so big. Because again, you think about what Billy have in the tool bag to end this. If it was 2 rounds, you just need 2 rounds of massive ults.
Right.
And as time continues, that's what DRX is really banking on. They cannot lose a round for the next couple.
I mean, they're still intent on pushing a lot of this aggression towards A main.
Whoa, that's fast. Good reaction from Billy. Instantly just pushing on the other side while they lose the other 2.
The paranoia and the nade, it's so good. YZ getting one with the ult. And now the Prowler to push them back even further.
This is the problem here. K-Knight doesn't have the smoke. They're going to try to push it again.
Trying to check both corners. And RB dismisses K-Knight. What else can they find? YZ and Bianchi here left in this 2v4. You see Buzz trying to satchel his way forward. YZ's gotten 1, but it's been traded back. YZ by himself, having to reload and reposition with the Hawn in his lap, and the pressure overwhelming of 3 members of DRX facing you down on the other side.
No way.
A desperate attempt to try to land shots that should not be connecting, and they don't.
Once again, really nice from DRX. Maintaining this safe distance. Keeping Billy away from that all-important match point. And again, we're now talking about 4 rounds. This is very much in the realm of possibility with how few we play. Big ult starting to accrue for DRX too. Notably, that showstopper was saved in a situation you thought they were going to use it. And DRX's approach here on this A side is so important, crucial for them to continue maintaining this when Billy wants to work the entirety of the map. We've seen it before, we saw it in the last round, them attempt that. And if they can get success in getting kills as well, that pushes Billy. A lot of times their reaction is super fast to try to maintain that advantage.
I mean, in a lot of ways, this feels somewhat reminiscent to what we saw in the first half in how the defense is playing it. They're so aggressive towards A main, and they put the onus on the attacking side to either, I mean, if you want to go C, sure, by all means, but you're going to have to deal with the Killjoy utility and the Viper utility, or you try to go mid and you risk getting pinched.
Big difference here. As they actually tried to pressure that Prowler, does not catch Mako, he's making noise anyways. They're going to try to fight for this. DRX sticking around.
This is big out for Mako. What a snap onto YZ.
A great protocol there. That nade clears the player's A main.
He was ahead of that. Stack still wise to it. Nicely handled. Aware of the threat, aware of the danger.
30 seconds left.
Do they funnel out behind that Molly? Buzz with the ult, and that connects onto Bianca. And that was the spike. The Buzz has been so crispy these last few rounds.
And that's it. Spike down across the way, past the wall. You're right, Buzz is stepping up. In the group stage, they didn't really need a massive performance out of Buzz, the one that we love, the one that we see all the time at these global events. It was really Stacks, RB, those guys were consistent. Zest putting in a lot of work in crucial rounds. And there it is, timeout from Billy. Surprisingly, it's them using their second ahead of DRX here. DRX still has one available.
We had questions around whether or not DRX would burn both in the first half.
Yeah, I thought they should have.
Yeah. But Termi continues to handle the situation quite nicely. As you're right, Billy now out of timeouts for the rest of this half. They still hang on to a 3-round lead, but it's been all DRX.
This is crazy. I mean, I'm already in that territory where I think this is a very real possibility here for DRX.
Yeah, I would agree with you completely.
5 in a row. There's nothing to sneeze at. Getting that last one so important. And while I still think Billy is playing well, especially how they're dealing with that C aggression, or not aggression, that C setup that was such a problem for DRX.
Yep.
They're walking in there, breaking the mollies, satcheling them down, and then throwing a smoke that makes it so difficult for RB to play around. I think those are the things that they're talking about within this timeout right now, how to really use that to their advantage. I would not be surprised to see them to go right into that and go for a 5 walk-in. Remember, the one round that looked like they almost would win that was when they ended up going into C site, breaking that util, tapping the door twice, freezing, and then going for another A or C execute when they had space already within the site. Didn't work though. But similar concepts can be applied. The other thing they could do is challenge this A execute that's constantly coming out from DRX, try to punish it with a molly over top, nades going back, prowlers coming through. Remember, Mako and Buzz stayed for so long in that last round. If that util came through, then all of a sudden, you would have had something different. This time, you do have difference from DRX. And Billy pouncing immediately. They didn't see that. They only saw Paranoia. They didn't see a nade, anything else, no molly coming out from the side of Zest. So they just walk out. And there's 3 hero rifles here. Even a buy down to 600 from Rin. Whoa, all the way.
They've created so much space behind all that utility. Look at everything gets dumped. The Nightfall, the pit.
Mako got traded too in door. He got a kill. And if he stayed alive there, all of a sudden you have a 3-way pinch and retake onto this pit, which is very devastating. But instead, you have control of door. It's planted for the spam. All they have to do is hold off RB.
RB's on the flank, and I don't know that the turret didn't see him.
He has a lockdown now too. Not one that you could really use effectively, but if he gets in this corner and posts it, you have to have a response from Billy.
I mean, there's nowhere else for Billy to
He put a
go.
lock
Oh,
on.
this is so well handled. Look at K-Knight understanding the pressure. repositions, tries to find some space to work behind it, and he gets a kill on RB. Buzz falls as well, but K not able to do anything more. Bianc and Stax in a 1v1. He's got to give up the space to see he's not going to connect. Stax has already gotten it to half. Pulls off, and the snaps from Stax is good. What a clutch. What a round for DRX.
The pre-fire's so good under pressure there from Stax. Hits the Red Bull clutch. Look at this. Key moment there, K-Knight trying to break that lockdown, instead dueling with Stax, and that forces Bianc to go all the way back in the drop and forces the rush in. That's why Stax is going for half, knows that he has to really run to stop that defuse. No mind games player played at all, either side. Oh, look at this. Buzz not on this A side at all. Instead, DRX making it look like they're going for one of those setups. And he's on the C side. Switching that up could really make things dangerous for Billy if they go for any sort of C pressure.
For Billy, we mentioned that they had 3 rifles in the previous round. Because of how they managed their money, they still have enough to buy in the light armor on 4. We'll see what they can do with it. It was a costly investment in the previous round. They dumped, what, 2 ults into that? They still have the lockdown from Marin. And again, we're seeing some of the protocols that we've seen to open the round, the satchels to clear out the Killjoy utility. But this time, they're committing. They invest the lockdown, they dump the nade, but Buzz again!
The break that, yeah, broke it.
It was that easy!
Yeah, that's the reason Buzz is over here.
Not only does he clear out the lockdown, but he gets a kill with it.
Oh, he picked up the gun instead of the spike.
That's the wrong package, it's not what you were looking for. Kana, though, managing to avoid disaster, scooping up the spike. And now setting eyes forward.
Left.
See that satchel through. Bianca's gotten some space.
Great season, they've confirmed the hit is still gonna be on the C side. Nobody tapping the door.
Buzz in a position to find more value. Just one daring to challenge across the corner, and it is YZ. Yosemite on the trade, 13 seconds left. The spike's still not planted, and DRX still clawing for control. There's no way K-Net pulls this off, right? This would be a 1v3. Mako's going fast with it. Oh, he decides to take the fight, but there was still so much to do. Mako cleans him up anyway as DRX get within 1.
And so far, it's a flawless half from DRX. Right now, looking for the comeback of champs so far from a 10-2 half to within 1. How has this happened? And I have to say, Doug, I feel like Billy's still playing a lot of these situations correctly. But DRX playing them even better. That nade to break the lockdown, it's so good preemptively.
Oh, he's ahead of this. He's cheeky with it. Takes a good bit of damage though and stays alive.
And the moment you've been waiting for too from YZ, the judge is back in his hands. He's gonna get up close and personal.
No satchels left. 1 kill away, 1 orb away from having Showstopper online. As they dare to continue to challenge Buzz in that cross once more. And this time it's the 2nd time he gets the kill. They did get the spike down. Mako expecting some of the pressure out from Rin on the flank. Reads him like a book.
This is still dangerous. Time is ticking right now.
3v5, what do they have to delay?
Can they get this gun? Yes.
That's big.
That's the 2nd gun now being able to be picked up by Bianc, and YZ can get out.
It actually went into YZ's hands. But Zest has already gotten 3/4 of the way. There's nothing to stop him! They created so much space in spawn, they lost sight of the spike!
Again, an ingenious play from K-Knight, but just not quite able to bring it across the line.
8 rounds in a row. Billy flirted with perfection in the first half. But DRX showing that they could do, at least for now, what Billy could not.
This is twice now that we're thinking, could we have a perfect half? This is ridiculous from DRX.
To get so close,
Oh,
you
that
have no
nade.
shot, bro. You're so done. You're so done. If it was not the nade, it was going to be Stax. The ult comes through as well as they push their way forward. Mako with 2. Knight trying to take a step back, dancing around the Prowler, snaps onto Stacks, well handled. But the thing is, through all of that chaos, once again, the dust settles, and BLG are down in numbers, they're down in control, and they're finally down on Lotus.
This is beautiful from DRX.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's quite literally perfect.
9 rounds now in a row. A fantastic comeback. Now they are in the lead, in the driving seat too. I mentioned earlier how important it was for them to keep Bilibili off of 11. All of a sudden it's DRX with all the bank in the world, with that ability to have the same closeout, especially if they can get up to match point right now. And Bilibili is just riding this loss bonus, which means always you're gonna have a player who's low on money. Bulldog, Spectre's here. And I like this. Continue to hit this B site. This is where the least amount of presence from DRX has been.
No shot, bro. There's just no way. The ult doesn't work. Follow-up from Rin doesn't either.
And a second attempt at this site is something I like to see given success last time. But now that they get shut down here, now that DRX again ahead of that adaptation, ahead of Bilibili. What do they choose to go for?
I mean, as soon as the door was tapped, you see RB start to take a step backwards. Realizing he's in a 1v3.
Bomb grenade out.
I mean, dude, they're gonna challenge him much more. Yeah, he plays his life, and now Zest has shown up. Sax is not far behind either. They've gotten out onto the site, but they're gonna be able to establish enough control to get the spike down? I don't think so.
That kill back allows them the space to recover the spike though, especially with the nightfall, but there's somebody getting a little ahead of it.
And RB not giving up an inch, looking for the second. Beyond there on the trade, but Buzz finishes it once more. DRX get to map point.
Not only map point, but 1 round away from the perfect half here on Lotus. We've only seen that sort of performance twice at a global event. And when you see it, it usually comes in a 13-0. Instead, it's a massively close game, somehow, some way. I think a lot of people maybe look back at this and think to themselves, well, it was close until it wasn't.
Yep.
But this is a comeback of the century. It's so beautiful to watch. DRX is ahead of every little step. They just need that last page from Bilibili.
And talk about forgetting about the past. They've done so masterfully. And they're now in a position where not only do they have the financial advantage, not only are they up 2 rounds, but they have so many ults they can play around too.
There.
This is what I was talking about, Bilibili. Really doing a great job of taking it to RB's setup so frequently. Only 1 molly broken this time. There's that smoke that allows them to threaten that they're walking in. Instead, they're going to go towards this A site. They are lining up the mollies. This is what I was talking about against Mako. He has TPs to get out of this situation, but Buzz is joining him, and he's getting really close.
He's ahead of this now. Oh my goodness, just barely spotted. The spam keeps him alive.
Oh,
and you're right.
TP.
Buzz is here. Ooh,
Oh,
just barely gets away. What do they do with this pressure, though? What do they do with this space? That Nightfall's going to get so much info. But BLG throwing the brakes on the round, pausing for just a moment.
back to the B site. Pit going begin.
Allowing the Nightfall to subside, and they drop the pit of their own. DRX dudes, now they have B control. BLG, you've knocked on the first door, it doesn't open. Does the second?
Back to A, really? 14 seconds.
There's not enough time here. They've got to find success on this. The openers have to be clean. And Buzz, of course, it's Buzz who's here. And Mako with 3. The pit goes down. And so do BLG's hopes of winning this map. 4 for Mako. A 13-10 win and a ferocious comeback on Lotus for DRX.
One of the best comebacks ever.
Unreal.
How do you contend with this? If you're Bilibili, it's going to be a big question that they're handling after the break.